Hi, I'm Jamie Chu, and this is Experience CTN, where we're going to learn more about CTN's volunteers and producers who have supported community media over the past few years. I'm here with Aaron Puno and V.S. Nikhil. They've been community producers since 2017 and are the proud hosts of Washtenaw Beat. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi.
Thank you.
So can you kind of get into why you started at CTN?
I guess both of us, we just saw that REC&ED had a TV camp, and you know, it was kind of interesting for me because the only reason I knew about CTN is because me and my mom, we would always drive down South Industrial and we would see the CTN logo and it says Community Television Network, and it's like, oh hey, there's a TV studio here. But wait, I don't see them on cable.
What about you?
Pretty much just by emails and advertising, you know. So basically through REC&ED, and yeah.
Fair enough. All right, and how did you hear about CTN besides that? Like, did you have any references? Did you know people who used to come here for camps or anything like that?
Like the only reference is driving down Industrial, and we've always seen it, you know, yeah.
I knew my neighbor, his name's Jack, he took one of the camps here.
Oh, yeah, Jack.
Yeah.
He took a camp here, and I guess he, he told us a bit about it and how he liked it, and so we were like, you know what, let's try it out, and so we signed up for one of the camps here.
Awesome. And can you kind of talk about the camp and what you guys did, what you guys learned?
We basically just learned the basics of filming and you know, the control room, and not necessarily how to act on TV, but they just gave us basically a good idea of it.
Yeah, we've actually went over a lot of stuff in a surprisingly short amount of time at camp, and it was pretty impressive. And by the end of the camp, basically everyone knew how to do things because everyone would rotate like positions. So, for instance, like 1 week, if Aaron and I were to be cameramen, like other people would be like audio, and then another would be director and producer. But then we'd like rotate, and so it gave everyone a chance to really experience all of the components of making a TV production.
Awesome. And did you feel like after the camp you were prepared to just do your own show by yourself, or did you need extra training for that?
Well, yes, we did need extra training because it was a different studio. Because primarily in camp we worked in the larger studio that we're in right now. Mm-hmm. But when we wanted to do our own show, Washtenaw Beat, Miss Alicia gave us the Hotline studio that is right next door. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there was a couple of new stuff that I had to learn, and the directing board, like the TriCaster board. But other than that, it was pretty self-explanatory.
Nice. And Aaron, how did you feel? Did you feel prepared after the camp, or was the extra training helpful as well?
The extra training was helpful because I had no idea how to work that switchboard thing. I don't even call it by the right name. I call it a switchboard when it's what, TriCaster?
Yeah, I mean that's what it says
that's just
on
the brand. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called, like director's board.
Switcher.
I'm just gonna call it the switchboard from here on now to the rest of my life.
Right. Fair enough. Whatever works for you. So, speaking of Washtenaw Beat, can you tell us a little bit about your show, how you conceptualized it, what brought you two together to make it?
Well, beforehand we had been very good friends, and me being the political one who likes to watch the news, I just figured, you know, hey, it would be very nice to complement my newspaper with a TV show, and you know, really Washtenaw Beat is structured in a way where it's fun for us to tape it, and we still got to get our opinions out, because you know we didn't even write scripts. Initially we wrote scripts, but we were very bad at reading that teleprompter. So we just had an outline, and then we just ranted about it.
Yeah, it's basically how things went down. And what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Just kind of how you conceptualized Washtenaw Beat and how you two came together to make it.
As you said, we were really good friends, and he was the more political one, and like he could actually like go on and on about like political topics if you just had like an outline. And so yes, We originally had we tried to type out scripts, and he'd usually send them to me like on the weekends or whatever, and then I'd probably like look through them, edit it, and then we'd just probably and then we'd set it up to the teleprompter, excuse me, and we tried to read off of it, but it's honestly it's way harder than it looks.
It's harder than it looks.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's actually get a little taste of Washtenaw Beat. Why don't we take a look up at the screen here?
All righty.
This is Washtenaw Beat. These kids who are survivors of the shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Florida, they are like pushing the gun lobby out of the way so actual gun reform can be done. And
High school kids all across the nation are becoming activists on gun control and gun violence.
And not to mention that Kim Jong-un and Moon Jae-in, presidents of the respective nations, actually shook hands. I buy it. But
Yep.
Kim Jong-un, if you do not, end this war, if you do not abide by the armistice and you start shooting up South Korea, I am very comforted that the U.S. has 100 nukes pointed at your sorry rear end.
Okay, I personally disagree with you on that because NASA, a lot of people, there's a conspiracy that NASA uses half the federal budget, but they really don't, okay? They use a quarter of the federal budget, and that's not...
A quarter is still a lot.
A quarter is still a lot, but still, imagine what they could do with half of the federal budget. Seriously, they could achieve a lot.
We've already went to the moon, okay? And sure, I want to go to Mars. I want to see people on Mars by the time I'm dead. But still, why can't we spend that money on better quality school lunches, or gun control, or better education, or social services? So, no Trump tonight, no suits tonight. Local issues, the stuff that actually matters. So, our first one for tonight, roads.
They suck.
They really, really suck. Jennifer Lawrence
Is a middle school dropout. Any Ann Arbor Open people are watching, try to beat us next time, bro. Come at us.
I'm gonna be out of this town singing a gig in New York. So, do you want to keep going? Because we've only been at this for 11 minutes.
No, I think we're good here, man.
Okay.
That's it for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, ladies and
We'll
gentlemen.
have more Washtenaw Beat next week. The name's Puno and Poodle, the man my right is.
V.S. Nikhil,
And this is Washtenaw Beat.
Wow, you guys are a charismatic duo. So I would love to know the process that goes into making one of these episodes. So can you kind of take us through that?
Well, normally we just take a look at the events that led up to Washtenaw Beat, usually the week or two prior, and so we just take a look at them. We cherry pick from Google News what we want.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah, we have this thing about saying whenever we mention a brand, say Microsoft, we have to say we're not sponsored by them. It's, And anyway, so we just take a look at what's happened. For example, Trump elected, Debbie Dingell elected, Ted Cruz calls for Coast Guard funding, blah, blah, blah. And as I said, we cherry pick, and then sometimes we actually shoot ideas down because, one of us would say, okay, that's just stupid. And yeah, so it's really just take a look at what happened,
Right.
and basically it's see what enrages us the most.
Okay, and Nikhil, what's your take on the process?
So, as I said in the beginning, we usually look at the stories that have been the most influential or the most controversial in the week, or whenever from the last Washtenaw Beat to the most recent and most controversial that we can actually talk about and expand on. and then we'd usually either write a script that really didn't work out with the teleprompters, or the thing that we started to do was we'd start to do we just type up an outline in the studio,
Right.
and I just put it up on the teleprompter, and it was just whenever like the topic comes on, we'd have like the topic itself. So for instance, it would be like the border security, and then it also have like a segue into like some of the more issues or topics that have like built up on each other to lead to that. So as in like the government shutdown, which is also connected to border security and the wall, and yeah.
That's the process. Wow, it seems like it takes a lot. So how did you become interested in producing and hosting a news program? Like, why didn't you guys do something about music or sports? Like, why politics specifically?
He's really a bit like a really big news guy, and he's pretty political and stuff.
I play the NPR newscast on my Alexa every time I have breakfast.
That's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we also had our own newspaper that we ran privately in our school, not like connected to the school, and
We got shut down.
yeah,
Oh, bummer.
it was stupid, but
No, it was not stupid. What is stupid is the insensitivity of the school. I never said that, by the way. Anyway.
yeah, and I mean, after that, we were just like, you know what, we could just keep this going by doing this and just not doing like a school like newspaper in school. And so like everyone has the internet nowadays,
Right.
except like some people, but like still the majority of people have internet.
Right.
So most of our friends could probably just watch it on YouTube, and so that's what we thought, and that's what we went with.
Nice. So do you guys do any kind of political activism? Are you active in the community about your views, or is it mostly funneled through Washtenaw Beat?
It is mostly funneled through Washtenaw Beat, actually. I mean, I have my political views, but I rarely ever share them.
Fair enough.
Like, I like never in a conversation with my friends or with like anyone like have politics came up, at least in my life. So
Okay.
I don't really talk about politics that much except here. So
Fair enough.
For me, really, it's Washtenaw Beat and yelling at my fellow Democrats at school, because I'm a moderate. Most of them are liberal, and some of them are even socialist. So there's always that little sort of class struggle there.
Right.
And really, when I'm at school, I usually yell about what the president or Congress is doing, or sometimes it's more personal issues like mass transit or healthcare. For mass transit, by the way, my main talking point is the light rail that Mayor Christopher Taylor promised us a few years ago, and they said it was going to cost $700 million to get from the Plymouth Park and Ride down to Briarwood, and I was excited, but I can't find a news article that's dated this year or the year before, and so I'm kind of disappointed. So I'm always yelling about that.
Fair enough. So what are some important topics that you've discussed on your shows?
Well, we've done everything from what the president's doing, what enrages us that the president's doing, to sometimes we do like hard news, like school shootings and terrorism. We talk about that, but we don't necessarily like what's happening. And sometimes, especially when we did that episode where it was the summer-themed episode, we just talk about the local issues, how bad the roads are, how I never got the train I was promised, how there's freaking dioxin plume, how there's no air conditioning at Tappan, which, by the way, made me sick on the second day of school.
I have so much to say about that.
Oh, yeah. I believe we could both go on for about 6 hours on that.
Yes. I agree. Oh my goodness. Like, okay, the thing is with Tappan, right? They did like instead of getting like actual like good quality air conditioning and like heating systems, they just decided to get all the rooms getting like brand new furniture.
Brand new furniture.
And also on Tuesday. Like I walk into school and
there's
look
these
up
little signs.
Yeah, and then there's these signs on top of the doors with like the teacher's like favorite university or something like, or like the university that
Their
I went
alma
to.
mater.
Yeah. So and I was like, I've survived 3 years without having signs on the top of the doors. And I mean, it's sort of cool. Like, it's sort of good to remember like numbers and classrooms and like teachers' names. Because like when we were in like 6th grade, there was nothing. There was like no signs or anything. You had to like actually go through and memorize your stuff like day by day. And you got to like have like a good like visual standpoint in how the school is structured. But now the 6th graders and like the 7th graders have this cheat of you can just walk down the hallway, see what their teacher is, and just go in. You know?
See, for us, all we had was a gray and white nameplate that said 307, and then under that it said Mr. Satchwell. Well, he was in 118, but that gets to the point now. These 6th and 7th graders who are all basically generationally different from us. And so they get these fancy nameplates, they get all the new furniture, they get poked and prodded, they get pampered. In fact, they actually say in the announcements, they have to remind us that the teachers are forced to love them, to love us.
Oh, yeah, that's like this new thing that's been going on for like a week.
And I think it's because they fired that mean lunch lady. But aside from that, we don't need a reminder that we are loved. It goes without saying because we live in a very good community. We live in the best damn town in Michigan, and we live in a good community. And even though some of our teachers are bad, the overwhelming majority overwhelmingly care about us. And we don't need to be reminded of that over the morning announcements, adding another 2 minutes to my day.
So speaking of community, well, do you think that your show resounds in the community? Why do you think your show is good to have in the Ann Arbor community at large?
We've actually, like, people that have like came into the studio, they were like, hey, you guys are on that one like TV show that I've seen on CTN. And like people like, and like I'm pretty surprised when people actually like recognize us, you know? Like, whoa, that's cool.
Local celebrities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have like last year I had like 6th graders walking up to me in the restroom, but I'm pulling my pants up and walking over to the sink, and the guy says, "Hey, aren't you on that on the TV show the Washtenaw something?" And it's like. Okay, so a 6th grader who really shouldn't be watching public television and who instead should be playing Fortnite is recognizing me and my buddy because we are on local cable, and it's like, wow, yeah, it's it's eye-opening.
Yeah, so it sounds like CTN's done a lot for you in terms of your political expression. Why would you think that it's important to support CTN as a community media station?
Well, the community needs an outlet for their local programs because it's not like every Ann Arborite with a protest placard is going to be able to do that over in WXYZ. You know, they need a local channel. I mean, sure, not many people watch the local channel, but it's still worth a lot, and especially for the people who do watch CTN. And yes, so I really think that public media, whether it be NPR or PBS or these little stations like CTN, do deserve funding. Right. I mean, it's the community's voice.
And how about you, Nikhil?
Yes, I also agree with Aaron. It's like a place where the community can meet and produce things, and also like just have fun with it, and. Perfect. Also, there's a lot of activities going on. You guys also do a lot of shows with you guys have done like a TEDx Youth Con at Skyline this one year, and you guys have done a lot for the community, and you guys should deserve getting funded.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate your guys' input. And we hope to see you soon in more Washtenaw Beats or whatever's next to come. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future episodes. In the meantime, why not come in and experience all that we have to offer for yourself? Visit us online at a2gov.org/CTN. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook at CTN Ann Arbor. I want to thank our crew, Carter Sherline, Pamela Mohar, Jason Broniak, Chloe Hill, and Alicia May. And I'm your host, Jamie Chu. See you next time.